Hello, Thames Valley Police, Nicole speaking.
Yeah, hello. I'd like to make an appointment to come in regarding an incident, a domestic issue.
Is it your girlfriend?
My ex-wife.
Right, and you're both okay, are you? None of you are harmed at all, are you?
Well, one person is.
Okay, is that person seeking any medical attention? Do you know? Do they need it?
No.
On Halloween night in 2010, while kids in costumes roamed the streets of Ascot, Berkshire, trick-or-treating, a far more sinister event was occurring inside a home on Millionaires Row. 46-year-old Joanna Simpson was brutally killed by her former partner, beaten to death with a claw hammer as her two young children played nearby, just 2 doors down. Her remains were discovered 5 days later, buried in a pre-prepared grave in Windsor Great Park. The perpetrator, a British Airways pilot entrusted with the lives of countless passengers, was Robert Brown. Despite compelling proof of careful planning, he was never found guilty of murder. Joanna Simpson entered the world in 1964 in York, Yorkshire, raised in a tight-knit, affectionate household. Her father, Chris, ran a thriving construction business, and her mother, Diana, often spoke of her daughter as extraordinary. As a child, the family relocated to the Isle of Man, where Joanna attended BCAN school. She was remembered as energetic, daring, and fully engaged in life. After graduating, she pursued a business degree at the University of Bath and built a promising career before dedicating herself to motherhood, her greatest passion. Her closest friend, Hetty Barkworth Nanton, described Joanna as a beacon of joy. Kind, warm, entertaining, and an outstanding parent. They were inseparable. No matter the hardships, Joanna always rallied and turned things around. Joanna held firm ethical principles, insisting that every child deserved a safe, stable, and nurturing upbringing. She never skipped a birthday celebration. A friend noted, "She's taught me so much about compassion throughout my life." Before encountering Robert Brown, Joanna had been married previously, ending amicably. During that period, she bought a home in Ascot, a dilapidated property with trees piercing the roof, which she personally restored into a stunning residence. Everything shifted in November 1998 when Joanna met Robert in South Africa. At 36, he was 2 years her senior. As a British Airways captain, flying long-haul routes to destinations like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Hong Kong, commanding Boeing 747s, he exuded confidence, charm, and an authoritative presence. Their relationship ignited swiftly. Robert soon moved into Joanna's Ascot home, the one she'd acquired and renovated with her ex-husband. On Christmas Day 1998, while piloting a flight to Hong Kong, Robert proposed to Joanna in a grand theatrical gesture. She accepted. They wed on February 13, 1999, in a modest ceremony in Ascot. Yet from the outset, red flags emerged that Joanna's loved ones couldn't overlook. Introducing Robert to her parents on the Isle of Man drew an instant negative response. Diana and Chris found him rude and conceited. He came across as aloof and dismissive toward Joanna's circle. Observers noted she seemed more at ease without him present. His presence altered her demeanor. Joanna's father, deeply troubled by the union, demanded a prenuptial agreement to safeguard her assets and trust fund. The contract specified that Tun Cottage on Buckhurst Road in Ascot belonged exclusively to Joanna. Robert resented it, viewing it as unjust, but he signed nonetheless. Their honeymoon in Cape Town, intended as a blissful beginning, turned sour. Joanna phoned her mother, confessing that marrying Robert had been a grave error. Diana was shocked, but the marriage was underway. By April 1999, merely 2 months in, Joanna learned she was expecting. She felt cornered, with no simple escape. In December 1999, 10 months after the wedding, their son Alex arrived. 17 months later, in May 2001, daughter Katie was born. The family settled in Ascot, chosen for its proximity to Heathrow Airport to suit Robert's career. Joanna cherished her kids, sacrificing her job for full-time parenting. She operated a flourishing 5-star bed and breakfast from Tun Cottage, affording her the freedom to handle school runs, bedtimes, and every milestone. The venture prospered, though Robert had invested £200,000, which later sparked fierce disputes during their divorce. The marriage deteriorated. Robert seldom spent time with Joanna and the children upon returning from flights. He prioritized work, arriving early and leaving late to climb the ladder. Some of Joanna's acquaintances saw him as a distant father, leaving her to shoulder most of the childcare. Patterns of coercive control, isolation, and intimidation surfaced. Joanna, private by nature, rarely discussed her struggles, but those near her sensed the turmoil. Her mother worried about her solitude in Ascot due to Robert's frequent absences, but Joanna resolved to persevere, as always. By January 2007, after 8 years, she'd reached her limit. She sought legal advice following Robert's unfounded accusation of infidelity. What unfolded next exposed his true peril. In February 2007, during a Hong Kong business trip, Robert called Joanna. He confessed to dark impulses, including fantasies of killing her and the kids with an axe and crashing a plane to end his life. Distraught, she hung up, questioning his motives. She realized he was manipulating her to maintain the facade. Terrified, she avoided reporting it. Then came the knife attack in July or August 2007, the gravest incident before the fatal one. Returning home around 10 p.m. with Alex and Katie, Joanna found Robert tucking the children in. 6-year-old Katie mentioned a man Robert suspected as Joanna's lover. His jealousy erupted. In the kitchen, he grabbed her neck and pressed a knife to her chest. Staying composed, she talked him down, then declared she was leaving. Robert's reply was chilling. She could go, but not with the children, a tactic to imprison her. He warned that disclosing the event would worsen things for her. Joanna grasped the threat. Despite the horror, she didn't alert authorities, fearing retaliation. She insisted he vacate the home. Robert relocated to a North Street property in Winkfield, Berkshire, retaining access to the kids. The ordeal persisted, leading to a protracted, bitter divorce spanning 3.5 years. The prenup became central. Robert felt cheated, believing it denied him rightful funds from his £200,000 investment in the B&B. During proceedings, alarming revelations surfaced. Joanna's home CCTV failed due to severed cables, as did security lights. Robert admitted buying spy gear, including a tracker for Joanna's car, to monitor her for 3 years. The divorce centered on the Ascot house, purchased as a ruin and renovated by Joanna years before meeting him. She poured her soul into it. It was hers, but Robert demanded a share. Joanna secured a 6-month restraining order, later extended, yet his control, surveillance, and threats persisted indirectly. Hetty Barkworth Nanton recalled, "I talked to Jo an hour before her death. She was deeply upset." The divorce's strain, fear of Robert, and future uncertainties weighed heavily, but Joanna pressed on, resilient and determined. Freedom seemed imminent. On October 20th, 2010, 11 days before her death, the UK Supreme Court issued a pivotal decision in the Radmacher versus Granatino case. A German heiress worth around £100 million prevailed against her French ex-husband's bid to nullify their prenup. Initially awarded nearly £6 million, she appealed, and the court ruled 8-1 in her favor, affirming prenups as binding in divorces for the first time in UK law. For Robert, this was catastrophic. His strategy hinged on invalidating the prenup he signed with Joanna, arguing it unfairly deprived him. The ruling demolished his case. The final hearing was set for November 8, 2010, just a week away. Joanna would soon be legally liberated, her finances and home secure, her children protected. Excited, Joanna shared the news with her stepbrother and Hetty, seeing it as her breakthrough. The ordeal neared its end. She could nurture her kids fearlessly. But Robert harbored sinister intentions, plotted over months, involving a grave, hammer, and storage container. It was Sunday, October 31st, 2010, Halloween. As locals prepared costumes for an evening of fun, Joanna anticipated a routine day. Robert had the children for a half-term visit and was scheduled to return them that afternoon. Around 4 p.m., he arrived at Tun Cottage with Alex, 10, and Katie, 9. The kids dashed inside to the playroom, eager to reunite with their mom and share stories. Robert followed, carrying a child's homework bag concealing a claw hammer he'd taken from his shed and hidden. This wasn't impulsive. Months prior, Robert had excavated a grave in Windsor Great Park, acquired a large plastic box as a makeshift coffin, and gathered bin liners, tape, and supplies. Joanna and Robert quarreled. The specifics remain unclear, but Robert later claimed it stemmed from medication, a claim the judge rejected. The children in the adjacent playroom played obliviously. Robert assaulted her, striking with the hammer repeatedly, 14 times total. Joanna sustained defensive injuries on her arms and hands, fighting back futilely. At 6 feet 5 inches and armed, Robert overpowered her. As she succumbed, 9-year-old Katie heard noises from the playroom and sensed trouble. Emerging, she asked if he'd summon an ambulance, a question later damning in court. He didn't, and the judge affirmed no such intent existed. Robert encased Joanna's body in plastic, loaded it into his car's boot, witnessed by Katie. He told the children their mom was ill and needed hospital care. They trusted him. 20 minutes post-murder, around 4:20 p.m., he returned to his Winkfield home with Alex and Katie, body still in the boot. He left them inside, confused but compliant, then drove to Windsor Great Park to enter her in the pre-dug grave within the plastic coffin, covering it with soil. He hid the spade nearby, discarded the home's CCTV unit and hammer in separate park spots. That night, he entrusted the kids to his girlfriend, Stephanie. She noticed his odd demeanor, distracted, flushed, and alerted his Scottish parents. His brother Kenneth checked in, but Robert stayed silent. Halloween continued. No one knew Joanna's fate. At 5 a.m. on November 1st, Robert returned home post-burial, appearing composed. Stephanie's worries lingered. She'd contacted family. At 7:54 a.m., Kenneth reported concerns to police, unable to reach Joanna and noting Robert's strangeness. At 8:38 a.m., Robert called police, feigning cooperation about a domestic dispute. He requested a meeting on a serious domestic matter, calm and evasive. Alarmed, officers rushed to Tun Cottage. At 9 a.m., they arrived, knocked fruitlessly, and forced entry. Inside, horror awaited. Blood splatters everywhere. Bedroom, walls, ceiling, kitchen. Forensics called it one of the most savage scenes they'd seen. Joanna was missing. Her phone, purse, and car remained, but she had vanished. At 10:11 a.m., Robert surrendered at Maidenhead Police Station and was arrested for murder. Police expected cooperation, perhaps remorse, but he aimed to manipulate the story. Interviewed 9 times over days, he invoked no comment repeatedly, refusing to aid the search. When speaking, he portrayed himself as the victim of a contentious divorce, blaming the prenup, depicting Joanna as domineering, affluent, and spiteful. Interviewers recognized the prenup as a motive, not a shield. Searches intensified. Officers, dogs, helicopters, volunteers scoured the area. No trace of Joanna. Her family agonized. Mother Diana despaired. Robert withheld the body's location, biding time in his cell. On November 3rd, around 4 p.m., shown blood photos, he consulted his lawyer and issued a 1-page statement. He'd lost control in an argument, pushed her, placed her in the boot intending hospital transport, took the kids home, and hid the body in Windsor Great Park. On November 4th, police revisited the park. Robert pinpointed the site instantly. The next day, November 5th, teams exhumed the body from a shallow grave 40 feet off Sand Hill Road in a drainage ditch. Joanna had lain there 5 days. Robert faced murder charges. Autopsy confirmed death by blunt trauma and strangulation. Trial commenced May 11, 2011 at Reading Crown Court. Joanna's supporters expected justice. Over 20 witnesses testified. Robert denied murder, pleading manslaughter due to diminished responsibility, citing an adjustment disorder, a mild, rarely violent condition that vanished post-killing, per the judge. He testified, labeling Joanna a manipulative heiress driven by grudges. He admitted hiding the hammer, but offered no rationale. He claimed amnesia of the attack. Prosecutors highlighted premeditation, advanced dug grave, concealed hammer, ready coffin, 14 lethal blows, no ambulance call, cover-up efforts. Katie's police statement wasn't presented. They fought. Dad put Mom in the car, said he'd hurt her, was taking her to hospital. Diana believed it would have altered the outcome. On May 24th, after 15 hours, the jury acquitted on murder but convicted on manslaughter, sentencing 26 years. Eligible for release after half, 13 years, in November 2023, gasps and tears erupted. Diana declared a grave injustice. Robert evaded murder in title only. In 2014, Diana and Hetty founded the Joanna Simpson Foundation. In 2016, Diana met Queen Camilla at a Safe Lives event, sharing Joanna's tale. Camilla wept, vowing action, sparking her domestic abuse advocacy. As 2023 neared, campaigns fought Robert's release. Diana, Hetty, politicians, Camilla, Alex, and Katie protested. Katie's age 9 words, "My father killed my mommy, and I'm scared. He is the most evilest man I have ever known." On October 10, 2023, Justice Secretary Alex Chalk denied release. In February 2024, his appeal failed. As of October 2025, parole awaits. In December 2024, UK reforms credited the foundation. It aids children of domestic abuse. Joanna, 46, embodied kindness and maternal love. In one night, it was ripped away. Yet, her legacy endures: a mother's unyielding fight, a queen's tears, a nation's awakening to abuse. Remember Joanna not for the brutality, but for her radiance and the reforms it ignited.